If you view a sunrise or a sunset, you'll notice that there's a lot of blue and a lot of orange, red, pinks, and so on. Now, it's no coincidence that the neurons in your eye that respond to sunrise and sunset and communicate to your brain's circadian clock to set your circadian rhythm and thereby cause elevated levels of daytime mood, focus, and alertness and improve nighttime sleep, respond best to the contrast between blue, aka short wavelengths of light, and yellow, orange, pink, red, aka long wavelengths of light. Now, this is why it's important to view low solar angle, aka sun rising light, and low solar angle, aka sun setting sunlight. Very different to view overhead sun, because overhead sun, as you'll probably notice, is very bright white light, and you'll see a lot of blue. Now, that white light contains all wavelengths of light at more or less equal intensities. In other words, you can't set your circadian rhythm with sunlight that is high in the sky, only low solar angle sunlight, because the sunlight that comes from the sun when it's high in the sky does not contain the contrast, the color contrast between blues and reds and oranges and so on. In other words, it's the difference in the short wavelength versus long wavelength light that sets your circadian rhythm, and that difference, that is the contrast between those wavelengths, is most prominent when the sun is rising and setting. And the reason I say rising and setting is that a lot of people think that all of this means that you need to actually see the sun cross the horizon. That's great if you do, but that's not necessary. It just needs to be relatively low in the sky, and you'll want to get about 10 minutes of morning sunlight viewing on clear days, and again 10 minutes in the evening when the sun is setting on clear days, double that on overcast days, triple that on densely overcast days. Now, for those of you that are in areas where the dense cloud cover is extremely intense and is very frequent, such as in very northern locations during winter, you might need to invest in getting a sunrise sunset simulator. And those are available. They can be rather expensive, and unfortunately most of them don't actually mimic the blue-orange, blue-red contrast that's necessary. Rather, they just include bright white light. Now, bright white light can improve mood because there's a third opsin type, the first two, of course, being the blue cone opsin and the red cone opsin that code for short wavelength and long wavelength light, respectively. But then there's a third opsin, which is melanopsin, which is also in those same neurons, and it's activated when bright light is shown onto those cells for a quite long period of time, many minutes. In other words, there's still value to getting bright sunlight in your eyes in the middle of the day. Of course, you never want to stare at the sun at any point or damage your eyes or get sunburned, but getting bright sunlight in your eyes in the middle of the day is great. It just won't set your circadian rhythm. So view that morning sunlight, that's the most important one. Also view late afternoon, evening sunlight. Don't wear sunglasses when you do it. Eyeglasses and contacts are fine. Don't try and do it through a window or windshield. It simply won't work. The light intensities that are necessary to set your circadian rhythm get filtered out by those windows. And do this as many days of your life as possible. If you miss a day, you're fine, but then double the amount of time that you do it the next day. I cannot overstate the importance of this behavior for circadian health. And circadian health is indeed one of the pillars of mental health, physical health, and what people refer to as performance, because when your circadian health is dialed in through these practices, you feel better, you can perform better, your hormone function is better, your neurotransmitter output is better, and on and on. There are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of quality peer-reviewed papers in humans that describe this. I cover many of those in the episode on Perfect Your Sleep, on Light and Health, Master Your Sleep of the Huberman Lab podcast. You can find all those at hubermanlab.com. Not incidentally, you can also find our zero-cost toolkit for sleep. And our entire website has been revamped, so you can simply go to hubermanlab.com, put in light, sunrise, sunset, whatever topic you want, dopamine, depression, whatever topic you want, and it will bring you to all the resources and even specific timestamps. Again, everything's zero cost. You can find it at hubermanlab.com. Meanwhile, if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section below this post. And as always, thank you for your interest in science.